a few of our initiatives, a few of our challenges. Obviously, first and foremost is the education sector. Education, as we all know, is the cornerstone of progress. We, in the province of Sindh, are forging partnerships to improve access to quality education. I'll talk about our public-private partnership initiative, and not only in the infrastructure sector, we started about 12, 13 years ago with our first project in the province of Sindh in infrastructure, but we've grown from there, and now we've introduced public-private partnership in the service sector, and most prominent are our health and the education sector. In the education sector, we've got a number of educational management organizations with whom we have entered into contracts to run our schools that we built, and we've seen a marked difference. Again, the population that we are right now touching is very small, but the plan is to go forward and use the private sector's passion and the experience both in the education and the health sector and the resources that the government has to ensure good quality education and health services. In the health sector, again, the challenges that we face right now are problems in primary health. In the tertiary health sector, we are very proud that we've got institutions like the National Institute of Cardiovascular Disease, the Sindh Institute of Urology and Transplant, the Jinnah Postgraduate Medical Center, Gambat Institute of Medical Sciences in Gambat. These are providing world-class tertiary health services. But again, in the primary health, we've started, and we're looking into forging alliances with the private sector. And there, again, under the public-private partnership model that we have, we've been managed to get organizations interested in managing the hospitals along with the government interested, and we've had some partial success in it. One of the key problems that we face, and both my earlier speakers talked about, is the danger of climate change. We've, in the recent past, have suffered from the effects of climate change. The 2022 floods in our province was the biggest natural disaster that we've seen in recent, I believe we don't have any recorded history of a catastrophe like the 2022 floods. The 2022 floods, when the UN Secretary General was here, called it, he said it was of biblical proportions and a monsoon on steroids. After the floods, we were really not sure whether we'd be able to overcome the damage that it had caused. But with the grace of Almighty Allah, with the help of our friends, we managed to not only rebuild, not entirely, but substantially, the infrastructure, both in the on the road side, in the irrigation, on the irrigation side. We've redone our hospitals, and we're doing the schools. Almost 20,000 schools were damaged in the 2022 floods, and we are in the process, again with the help of friends, to make sure that we not only rebuild our infrastructure, but we rebuild it better. Apart from that, for the first time in the history of the world, I'd say, we've embarked into a project where we are providing housing for almost 12 million people of the province of Sindh. Almost 2 million houses were completely destroyed in the 2022 floods. And the government of Sindh embarked upon this initiative of rebuilding climate resilient houses for our people. And not only did we manage to secure the financing for it, but by the grace of Almighty Allah, we've already crossed 900,000 houses. The target is about 2 million, and as I said, we've got funding for it. And this makes it the biggest housing project anywhere in the world. Now, mind you, I'm talking about 12 million people. This is probably, I don't have the numbers, I don't remember the numbers right now, but it's probably more than at least 120, the population of 120 countries of the world. So if the people that we are serving were made part of a new country, this would be a country which would be larger than 120 countries of the world. So one doesn't realize the proportions that we're talking about here. It's not a few thousand houses, it's 2 million houses that we're building. In water management, again, looking at the dangers of climate change, what we are doing is we are